What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my garage. This is going to be episode 3 of the Yamaha XS1100 Brat build. Today's going to be a teardown day. Basically, I got to get the rear wheel off, the front wheel off, and front forks, and possibly rear caliper, rear braking system as well. My goal here is that I got a quote for some powder coating. So in anticipation of that, I got to get all the parts prepped and ready to be sent out. Once I get all those taken care of and powder coating and get them back, then I need to get new tires put on the wheels so that I can kind of put them on the bike loosely and just kind of see how it's sitting, and then make some decisions about, rear suspension, front suspension, and go from there. So yeah, today's just gonna be a huge teardown day. Also, I have some footage coming up of the bike running. I just wanted to get a little footage of that because since I'm gonna be taking off the exhaust system to jack the bike up, it might be the last time we see it running for, who knows, 6 months. So enjoy. Well, it runs, kinda. Alright, so I thought I'd bring you in for a little closer look here. So what I've done so far is disconnected the exhaust system from where it meets with the engine over here. You got 2 bolts holding on each flange that comes up like so, and that holds it to the motor right there. They were held on by these little Allen bolts right here, size 6mm. Some of them took the whole stud out with it when it came out. That's no big deal though. They're threaded on both sides, so it can go in and out either way. So that's where I'm at with that. I disconnected all 4 pipes from the motor right here. Oh, there we go. Just fell off for me. And then in the back, it was held on by a bolt here, connected to this right here. So once that popped off, I guess everything kind of fell off and disconnected itself. So now, I got the exhaust off. And there's one half. And the other half is right over here. You can see there was like a cross pipe that connected the 2 exhausts, and that was holding it together. At first I thought they were welded together, that's why I was filming, and I guess they were just kind of seated into each other. So they both popped off real easily. That's very nice. I thought I was gonna have to take the center stand off for a second to get them completely out because it was kind of hung up on that. So there we go, we got the 2 halves of the exhaust off. I think what I'm gonna do is reuse these, but not entirely. So my plan here is thinking I'm gonna cut it maybe over here or over here somewhere. I gotta further take it apart and just kind of see how it's all done. I'm gonna clean these up really good, give them a coat of paint, black paint, exhaust paint, high temp stuff, and then possibly wrap them with, what do you call it, the heat wrap. So that's kind of my idea. So when I cut them here though, then I'm gonna put on a cone muffler that has removable baffles. So if I wanna run it, full straight pipe, noisy, I can, or I can put the baffles in and be a little quieter. So that's kind of my plan with the exhaust right there. Get rid of all this big old hunkin' rusty metal, clean those up, connect the cones, put them back on. That's gonna probably need some rejetting and stuff, so we'll get to that when we start working on the carbs and stuff that way down the line. So that's where we're at with the exhaust system. Hey, bike lost some pounds. All right, next on the to-do list, I am going to brake free the rear wheel and brake free the front wheel. Before I jack it up, I just want to have everything kind of loose so I'm not fighting a bike that's not 100% stable, trying to take everything off later, break all the bolts free. So what I got to brake free is this bolt right here. We got a cotter pin we got to remove to get that out. And then I can work on getting that nut loose. And then on this side, I'm just going to brake free the caliper. Get it all loosened up so I can remove it fairly easily afterwards. So I got to break this banjo bolt, and then these 2 mounting bolts here. And I'm assuming this plate is held on by the axle. Once that's all broken free, everything should be able to disconnect fairly simply. And then in the front, kind of have a similar setup. Got to do this cotter pin, remove that, break this nut free. That way everything's nice and loose and ready to rock once it's up in the air. I already got the calipers off, so that's easy peasy there. So yeah, here we go. Alright, I got the bike in the air. I kind of made a mistake and I didn't film myself jacking it up, but it was really finicky and took a few attempts. I'm just going to kind of show you what I did here. I used my motorcycle jack to pop it up, but I had to put a couple pieces of wood underneath just to give it some support. And that's because we got, you know, some things sticking off the engine. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like it's some sort of oil galley. That's kind of in the way, so if I jacked it up, it would be kind of unstable in the middle. So I used these pieces of wood that I'd line around the garage to just, you know, make it a little more stable. So now it's up in the air, and now I can start taking off the wheels. I'm going to start with the back because I am noticing that it's a little bit back heavy. So I figure start with the back, loosen the weight there. That should kind of keep it more balanced. And then go to the front. So here we go in the time lapse mode. Let's do it. Got the wheels off. That became a pain in the ass on the back wheel. I don't know if you could see in the time lapse, but I was struggling a little bit with the back one. What happened was, on this side, I'd broken free the caliper and gotten everything loose, but now you can't see because everything's gone, but the wheel was sitting here and the caliper was sitting right around here. And the pads, I guess, were closed enough where I couldn't get it to lift off. So I had to run to the manual and kind of see what the heck could be holding it on. And there was a little screw on the other side of the caliper on this side that was kind of holding the pads a little tighter. So once I broke that free, I was able to rip the caliper out, and that made enough clearance between here and here to disengage the wheel from the hub and pull the wheel out. So just a little, you know, hang up that I got caught on that I wasn't expecting. But, you know, we got it off. Once that went off, the whole front of the bike kind of went forward because the weight shifted. Front was a piece of cake. As you saw earlier, you just kind of take that nut out, loosen up. On this side, you got, on this forks, you have a little bit of a retainer right here. You just break these nuts free, hit it with a dead blow hammer, and the thing pops right out. Wheel came right off, no problem, since the calipers were already out. So here we have the wheels, off and ready to rock. There's still some things I gotta do. I gotta take the rotors off both. That one's got two, one on each side. I gotta take the tires off, obviously. Gotta unbolt this hub and this shroud. This is just a plastic shroud. So that's gonna come off. I'll just spray paint that black, can't powder coat that. I guess you could powder coat plastic, but it's not worth it. So that's gonna get painted black. Gotta undo these bolts, pull the hub assembly out, get the tire off, and then send this in for coating. And I'm gonna do this in a nice satin black. I was thinking about doing matte, but I don't know, I just feel like satin's gonna be, you know, just a little sheen, but not too much. So that's kind of what I'm aiming for there. On this side, same thing, just more fiddliness, pulling those rotors apart. So once I get all that done, that's gonna get shipped off to powder coating, and be ready to put those back on the bike once I get new tires. My next job before the day is over, this is gonna be my final project for the day, is gonna be disassembling these front forks. So let's get right into it. Just gonna take them right off. Alright, the bike has no forks. They're on the floor. Wasn't too hard of a job. Got 2 bolts on the lower triple tree here, 1 bolt on the upper. Loosen those up, slide them right on out. I also took the fender off. Previous owner looks like he had installed a fork brace as well. I don't think I'm going to reuse that, but you never know. Maybe I'll run no fender and just use the brace instead. If I do run the fender, I definitely want to cut it down, and then I'll probably paint it black as well. So those are all done and off and ready for disassembly. Brake lines are as well. I was thinking I might actually start reuse those. We'll see though, I'm still playing around with that. Let's come over to the bench here though and take a look at everything else. So as you can see, this is the rear caliper. It's exactly the same as the front ones. The only difference is the bleeder valve is located on the side instead of on the bottom. So this one looks about as the same shape as the others. I haven't shown you guys this, but since last brake inspection, I've actually gotten the pistons out. I ran over to my brother-in-law's to use his compressor to pop them right out. And I'm gonna have to reorder pistons because these are pretty pitted, and can't really use pitted pistons in the caliper. What will happen is as this goes in and out, the fluid will get caught in these little pits over here and get pushed out. The seal won't be able to seal it properly, and that's it. So gonna have to order some new ones, new of those, 2 of them definitely, probably 3, once I could get this sucker popped out. Yeah, other than that, it needs to be powder coated and freshened up. This is the bracket. This was what I was having trouble getting off. This is also acts as a rear spacer for the rear wheel. So when this was sitting on the rear wheel, I couldn't get the wheel off, enough over to pop it out from the hub until this was off, and this was stuck on by these pads, which have a lot of life left on them. So those I should be able to reuse. So yeah, my next job is just gonna be cleaning up all this stuff, getting it ready for powder coating. Here's the rear and front axles for the wheels. This is the rear one. We got spacers here, little big washer here, nut, cotter pin. I always like to put everything back how it came off, so if this sits for a few weeks and then I come back to reassemble everything, I know exactly how everything went. So that's where I'm at. Other braking components are over here. This master cylinder is completely toast, so I am ordering a different one to do instead of trying to repair that. The problem is that this piston is typically held in by a C-clip, and that C-clip is either in there and broken or just completely missing, and something is holding that all together. So I'm not going to reuse that. It's not worth the time and money. I looked into a rebuild kit. It cost more than the new master cylinder, so I figured screw it. I'll just try a replacement one and see how it works. If anything goes wrong and it doesn't work, or it's not producing enough pressure on the brakes, then I will find a replacement original one. So that's where we're at with this episode. Everything's kind of apart. I'm gonna do some things in the background still, like disassemble all this stuff. I'm not gonna film all that because it's just fidgety, taking bolts off and taking things apart. But this is where we're at. So bike's getting there bit by bit. It's gonna be torn apart and put back together. So thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe. Peace.